Hello everyone, my name is Schaknat. I am the Managing Director of Schaknat Electronic GmbH, and today we are optimizing a Morelo Palace 88LB. Today we have a beautiful Morelo Palace here, a new Euro 6e chassis from Iveco Daily with a pure 3-liter 4-cylinder engine delivering 475 Newton meters of torque. It also has the new ZF8 HP transmission, the torque converter automatic, an extremely good gearbox. Especially I would say when driving with a trailer, the shift strategy and efficiency make this a really excellent transmission. Today we have specifically brought in an Aero 6e model for a closer look because a significant number of customers have reported noticing performance differences when compared to the earlier Aero 6 A, B, C and D models and have been quite critical about this. The main concerns are especially regarding the transmission's shift strategy and its real-world fuel consumption. That is precisely why we decided it was important to feature one in today's video. So let's go ahead and actually take a closer look to see what those real differences are. So I can see originally, the process is just as usual. We'll measure it on our performance test bench, measuring the input power again at the rear axle using two-wheel drive. As you know, we can measure up to 1,800 horsepower on our test bench. If we can't manage it with the 3-liter engine with 211 horsepower, then we will take a closer look at the input power, optimize it as is customary, and then evaluate the output power together again. That's what people are always interested in. So what are the actual differences? We can also see if we can compare our Euro 6D software standard again, so we can take a look at where the real differences are. The other employee has already unstrapped it. The nice thing about motorhomes is that they usually have a trailer hitch, so we can easily get in from the back. We have now strapped down the axle once again underneath, and that's because they basically have such incredibly small tires. With our specialized heavy-duty truck rollers, we don't even really need to lower it down that much because we can brake it with the torque to ensure that it really has good solid traction. Alright then, I think we are done for the time being. So now I would go ahead and perform the initial measurement. Then we will meet at the monitor and take a closer look at the initial measurement together. We've now completed the initial measurement. We've restrapped it for 4-wheel drive because otherwise, with the new temperature intervals, it would have trouble. We've now also strapped in the front axle, so we really have the full simulation. Let's just take a look at the diagram together now. You can see it here now. Stock, we have an output of 211 horsepower and 475 Newton meters of torque. That's a perfect value, or rather, you should say 470 Newton meters. Down here we can see the torque curve, and up here is the peak power. As you can see, you actually have to add the power loss, the 25 horsepower, on top of that. So up here you can see the peak power, and if we move over here, we see we have exactly 212 or 211 horsepower. That really is 100% stock performance. Customers have always complained a bit that the new Euro 6e models are a bit more sluggish in terms of response. Yes, because of the new Euro standards, the whole system has become a bit more sluggish from the gas pedal, that's just how it is. But I still see that in terms of peak power and peak torque, it's really perfect. It really has 100% stock performance. That's definitely a good starting point for us to optimize. So now we'll go ahead and optimize it. I won't explain that in detail now, you've seen it plenty of times before. Then the other colleague will do the baseline measurement now, and we'll see each other again at the monitor. Andre has done the baseline measurement. The car runs super smoothly. We took a look in 4-wheel drive mode. The car really runs beautifully. Alright, let's take a moment to look at the power output in more detail. You can clearly see the green, or perhaps it's a brownish-green line, right here on the chart. That specific line represents the vehicle's torque, and Now, I've also shown you something a little bit special, and I'll admit this might be a little confusing at first, but this value is the wheel power and the wheel torque, so you can also see the power losses. As you can clearly see now, we have a resulting output of just under 258 horsepower and a total of 540 Newton meters of torque. And you can see down here with the torque, it starts extremely early, from 1800 to 2000 RPM, and holds its maximum for a very long time. So you can see, compared to the original, it's already a huge difference. We've also optimized the transmission. This is exactly what we have now to save fuel. The transmission shifts up early. Our customers always confirm this for us. When they drive off our lot, they clearly say that they notice it within just the first few meters, almost immediately as they leave the driveway, that the automatic transmission now shifts much more smoothly and softly. And of course, another positive effect that also contributes to this is that fuel consumption decreases as well. So first and foremost, it's really all about increasing torque is a nice side effect, but the main focus here is on optimizing consumption, on actually saving fuel. We've already done this with many of the Euro 6 models. On average, it's always about 2 to 2.5 liters. I have a very good customer here in the region who always does the evaluations for me. I've done a bit of testing with him. He actually says that on some trips he uses almost 3 liters less. That's really incredible. He says the driving behavior is completely different, much smoother shifting. Also in terms of running smoothness, as I said, he's extremely satisfied. I also think these are beautiful motorhomes, especially when they're optimized. We've reached the end of our video today. As I said, it was a lot of fun again, and the measurements worked out really well. It really is a beautiful motorhome. As I have said before, the new motorhomes, whether we're talking about Concorde, Carthago, Morelo, Niesmann plus Bischoff or Phoenix, those are all truly gorgeous vehicles. These days, they are almost always built on heavy-duty truck chassis. At the very end of the process, the customer will also get the dedicated app from me again, and as always, our very well-known Hugo Boss air fresheners. In fact, we're going to produce a special batch specifically for motorhomes now, since quite a few customers have already asked for them. They are proving to be quite popular. So in the future, we'll have air fresheners made especially for our motorhome customers as well. So if you're interested in the topic of engine and transmission optimization for the Morelo Palace, feel free to check out our website at www.schaknat.de. Give us a call, send us an email, or reach out via WhatsApp. We'd be happy to provide personal advice. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Ciao.